Hello viewers, in this video I will cover the procedure of a civil suit under the Code of Civil Procedure 1908. So this video will cover the entire journey of a civil suit starting from filing of the PIL till the execution of decree. So firstly starting with the word civil suit. So a civil suit is filed when a person private legal rights is violated. So, the main objective behind the civil suit is not the punishment but to obtain the compensation or the enforcement of right. So, all the suits in India are governed by the Code of Civil Procedure 1908, which is you also know. I hope so you also know about these things as it is a very basic thing. Now, the following all the proper procedure is very important in a civil suit. Now moving further to the very basic question, what is the difference between a civil suit and a criminal suit? So the main difference between a civil and a criminal cases lies in their objective. So a civil case or the civil suit focus on the compensation or the relief or the monetary compensation or any declaration, whereas the criminal cases deals with the punishment. Further, a civil cases are filed by the individual while the criminal cases are considered offense against the state. For instance, if there is any offense of rape or murder, it will be not the offense only against that person but also against the state. Now, moving further, some of the basic or the common types of a civil suit. So, the most basic or common civil suit or cases in India are related to property dispute. And apart from this, there are various other type of dispute which the civil court also deal with. First of all, the contractual dispute. Then we have the family matters. Then we have the injunction and recovery of suit and so on. Now, moving to the very important part of this video, which is the stages of a civil suit. So, a civil suit follows a fixed procedure. So, it starts with the filing of a suit, following all the notice to the defendant, filing of the written statement. Then we have the framing of issues. Then we have the evidence, the examination of witness. Then we have the oral argument, written submission, and then the most important part of a civil suit is judgment and the final execution. Now, starting with the first step of institution of a suit. So, a suit begins with the filing of a plaint by the plaintiff. So, a person who filed the plaint is known as the plaintiff. The plaint contains few details such as the name and the details of the parties, then the cause of action, why the suit is arise. Further, the jurisdiction of the court, does the court have jurisdiction or not, and the relief claimed. What is the relief claimed by the plaintiff? And all these stages is governed under Order 6 and Order 7 of the Code of Civil Procedure. Now, moving to the next stage. So, after the filing of the plaint, the next stage is scrutiny of the plaint. So, after filing, the plaint is examined by the court to check the limitation that the present plaint is under the Limitation Act or not. Further, the court fees is duly paid or not, and the jurisdiction, does the court have jurisdiction to entertain this matter or not. So, if any defect is found, then plaintiff must correct them, and otherwise the plaint may be rejected. Now, moving to the next step. So, if the plaint is accepted by the court, then the next step is service of summons. So once the plaint is admitted, the court issue summon to the defendant. Now this summon informs the defendant about the case and the date of hearing. If the defendant does not appear, the court may proceed with the next summon. But after all the summon, if the defendant is not appear, then the court may proceed for the ex parte decision. Now, if the defendant is present before the court, then what the defendant will do? So then we have written statement. So the defendant file a written statement in response to the plaint. So the written statement filed by the defendant is also considered as the plaint from the side of defendant. So it contains admission or the denial. In most general case, the defendant generally deny the plaint or the fact given by the plaintiff. Now, sometime counterclaim is also made by the defendant. So this is most important or must be filed within a prescribed time under Order 8 of the CPC. Now moving further to the next stage, which is production of document. So the both parties are required to submit their original document related to their case. These documents help the court to understand the factual background of the dispute. Now, after the production of the document, the next stage is examination of parties. So the court may orally examine the parties to clarify the dispute facts, and i- at this stage the court may also encourage this settlement through alternative dispute resolution. So in this step, the court also give the opinion or the opportunity to go with the alternative dispute resolution. Now, if the parties is willing to continue this case, then the next stage is discovery and inspection. So here the parties can demand document from the each other. This ensures transparency and help both the sides to present for their or prepare for their trial. Now the next stage, which is the very most important stage, is framing of issue. So issues are the question that the court need to decide, and the entire trial is revolving around these questions. Now, after the framing of the issue, then the most other important stage is the evidence and the witness examination. And here the concept of cross examination and examination in chief is arise. So here both the parties present their witness and the evidence, and the witness are examined and cross examined or the cross examined to establish the truth before the court. Now, after that, the next stage is the argument. So, after evidence is completed, the both sides present their argument. The lawyers explain how the facts and the law support their case. And after all these things, the very, very most important stage of a civil suit is judgment or decree. So, after hearing the arguments of both the side and all the evidence, the court delivers the judgment, and the judgment is followed by a decree, which is the formal order of the court within a period of 15 years after the judgment. So, if the other party against whom the judgment debtor is not satisfied with this decision, then we have the next stage for them, the post judgment remedies. So, if a party is dissatisfied with the judgment, they may file an appeal, review, revision before the execution of the decree. Now, if the party have no objection or no dissatisfaction, then the last stage in a civil suit is execution of decree. So, execution is the final stage where the successfully party enforce their decree. This stage ensured that the relief granted by the court is actually implemented. And that is all about a civil suit. From the filing, from the plaint to the execution of the decree.